When we had our garden center, Tom did lots of landscaping. One job he did incorporated a topiary tree into the planting. It looked so nice, but the topiaries were expensive and hard to get. Imagine my surprise in learning there's a nursery right here in Minnesota that grows and produces topiaries and lots of other trees too. I called Lowell from Plants Beautiful Nursery, and he said we could come and see what they have and how they do it. Thanks, Lowell, for letting us come.
Well, thank you, Mary, for coming.
Now, tell me, how did Plants Beautiful Nursery get started?
My dad started it in 1967, so we've been growing and planting trees since 1967. And I started working with my father. I was in junior high at the time, and planting trees, and the rest is history from there, I guess you could say. The nursery we have is about 150 acres, and we have another farm which is Christmas trees. We have a choose and cut Christmas tree farm. So that could be another story, Mary, for another time.
So what makes this a good location for growing trees?
This location, we're out on the prairie here. We have more of a heavier type of soil, prairie loam soil, with a little bit of clay in it. And then it's lighter down below. We'll get to sand eventually down. So we have good soil drainage for water. Water's not going to sit around for very long. And it allows us to ball and burlap trees very well. That's the key thing. Whereas the other farm where we have the Christmas trees is lighter soil, a little bit sandier, not as good for balling and burlapping trees. So that's why we grow Christmas trees over there.
So what are the different parts of your nursery?
Well, we have evergreen trees, we have shade trees, we have the topiary trees. The evergreens trees in our nursery make up about 70% of our sales. The shade trees is about 20% to 25%, and then about 1% at most is topiary trees. That's more of a unique customer that likes to have a decorative tree in their yard.
How many different kinds of trees do you grow?
We have about 60 different kinds of trees that we're growing between all of the evergreens, about 25 to 30 different evergreens, and it's about 35 different shade trees, flowering trees and that kind of thing.
How many trees do you plant each year?
We plant between 4,000 and 5,000 trees a year, so that we have a good number of trees. They aren't all going to make, a number one, perfect tree. So there's going to be some, that will not fill in. Maybe even like this one next to you, Mary, here. Right now it doesn't look as full as this guy, but 5 years from now, that guy will be 10 feet tall and look just as full as this guy. So,
when you plant, do you plant in between where you have already harvested, or do you start a new area each time?
We start a new field every time. So we're finishing off a field. That field right over there is one example. It'll be planted either this summer or next spring. Okay, that's got alfalfa in it right over there that we planted last summer into that. It was worked up for at least 1 year or more to work it up. So everything came out of there tree-wise that was left. And then we work it up with disc the field several times throughout the summer. Then we plant alfalfa in there. And that, by the way, is part our cover crop. So we're getting fertilizer out of the alfalfa. Even though we fertilize this field, we don't have to do that continuously every year, but the University of North Carolina did research on this for Christmas tree growers a number of years ago, and we were already doing that if you mow alfalfa 4 mowings a year in the tree field like this, it's actually like you're getting 70 pounds of actual nitrogen to the acre, or that's like putting on 200 and some pounds of ammonium sulfate to the acre that you're getting out of the alfalfa. Some people do use Roundup in the rows, but we prefer to mow it, and the trees have good organic compound being mowed in there that are supplying the trees.
When do you plant the trees?
Most of the trees, the evergreen trees, we plant mid to latter part of May, sometimes it's almost June. So we have to dig the trees in the spring prior to the new growth coming on. So our planting is a little bit later than what most people would think of in the spring. The other thing we've seen, like this spring, it went hot, went cold, went hot and cold, and it was really cold to start with in April. That wouldn't have been good. We found that the trees will sit there in the field and some of them might even die because they're not actively doing anything. So we're planting from a 2-gallon pot to 3-gallon pot, sometimes a 5-gallon pot. Trees about 2 foot tall that we're planting into the field. And we're auger planting these holes in a pattern here. There's 3 rows of trees being augered at one time. And then we plant sideways across the field depending upon what soil we have to work with. So the Meyer spruce right here will handle a little bit lighter soil. So will that Medora juniper behind you over here, tolerate a little bit lighter soil. We usually try and put the fir trees or the white pine or arborvitaes in a low spot in the field.
If Mother Nature doesn't cooperate, how do you water?
We use drip irrigation. We came up with that almost 20 years ago as a way to irrigate the trees. So 100% of what we're growing, even the bigger trees, we have drip irrigation available to supply water. So if it was like 21, we had a major drought here, we were irrigating. This field of trees here got irrigated at least twice a week for about 12 hours down this drip line, and it's supplying in that 12 hours about a 3/4 inch equivalent of rain in a band about this wide. So the water goes down out of the emitters and waters that strip, which keeps the trees alive.